You're listening to Dakota Spotlight, a production of Forum Communications. My name is James Wolner, and this is Season 6, Vanishing Act, the untold story of Kristin Diede and Bob Anderson. To see articles, photographs, videos, maps, and more about this season, visit inforum.com/Dakota Spotlight. Remember how last week I told you we had a plan for the next 2 episodes, but also how those plans could change at any time? Guess what? They did. We're shifting gears slightly. We're going to wait 1 more week for that sit-down with the retired detective. Instead, this week, we're doing something different, and we're guessing it's something a lot of you have been wondering if you'll hear. You will recognize the next voice. It's Jeremy Fugleberg, co-producer of this season of Dakota Spotlight.
All right, here goes. Looked up the winter chiropractic number. Theoretically, the office just closed at 4. It's a couple minutes after, so I'm hoping to catch him right at the end of the day or on his way out the door. Here goes. Hello? Hello? Is anyone there? So, rang, goes to dead air, and then it's just dead air. But it seems like the call connects, so that's weird. Well, no luck with Clyde Diede right now. Maybe we'll try him again in the morning.
That was Jeremy's first attempt that would result in, I think, the most remarkable interview of this season of Dakota Spotlight. This week is all about that interview. It wasn't just remarkable because of what was said. It was remarkable because of the amount of prep work that went into it. Remarkable because, well, we didn't even think it would happen. But it did. Clyde picked up and talked to us. And we asked him the biggest question of all.
That's right. This week on the podcast, talking to Clyde Diede, the man married to Kristin Diede when she and her boyfriend, Bob Anderson, disappeared in North Dakota in mid-August 1993. Today, Clyde is a chiropractor in Winter, South Dakota. I did finally get him on the phone. You've heard some clips from my interview with him in past episodes. But in this episode, we're going to play the interview in its entirety. If you've stayed with us thus far in the season, it's worth listening to, front to back. But also, as we've continued to work on this season, it's become clear to us that the interview offers a unique behind-the-scenes look at our investigation, and we feel it makes for an interesting story. That's what this episode is all about.
Clyde is a crucial witness in all of this. We know from other witnesses that Kristin and Bob traveled to and visited the Diede farm near the town of Wishek that day, August 15th, 1993. We know Clyde was at the farm that weekend, although we're not sure exactly when he was or wasn't on the property. The background is important too. We know Kristin and Clyde were in the middle of getting a divorce, and there might have been a dispute over the 2 children that day. And we know Clyde was still under a court order to not have any contact with Kristin. This was after getting convicted for assaulting her earlier that year. Most important of all, we know that nobody has claimed to have seen or heard from Kristin or Bob since that day, August 15th, 1993.
As you'll recall from our last episode, Clyde got some serious attention from law enforcement after Kristin and Bob vanished. Investigators interviewed Clyde, they searched the Diede farm, they even threw him in jail for a night over his refusal to provide a hair sample. It seems fair to infer he was a person of interest in this case, certainly a figure looming large in the investigation into Kristin and Bob's disappearance. So we knew talking with him, if he would talk to us, was a big deal. So today, we'll not only play the entire interview, we'll also share the considerations we took into account with that interview, what you do with an interview like that.
These were not administrative, boring questions. These were big, important questions, big concerns. They go right to the heart of Dakota Spotlight, the kind of podcast it is, how seriously we take our work as reporters, how important it is to approach what we do ethically with an open and fair mind. And how did we do? Well, you can decide for yourself.
Questions. What should we ask Clyde Diede? We created a spreadsheet of questions for Clyde. We worked on it for months, adding one here, removing one there. From James's previous reporting on this case, we had some big questions for him about Kristin, their relationship, what happened the weekend she and Bob vanished. Hard questions. But we also had more reporting to do, so we did that work first. We interviewed more people, we gathered more evidence. By the time we were ready to call him, we had 20 plus questions ready to go. I grouped them based on topic, order of importance, and what I thought would be a natural progression of questions. Of course, interviews don't always go according to plan. Things happen. Answers lead to different questions. Best laid plans are just that, only plans. Still, always good to be prepared.
In late January, we knew we were getting close to launching the podcast. We'd done all the work, which means we were ready to talk to Clyde. But first, we wanted to talk to our manager, Steve Wagner. Steve is the Digital Content Development Director for Forum Communications Company. He's not following along day to day, but when it comes to big questions, tough calls, yeah, we're going to talk to Steve. So we arranged a Zoom meeting with him, all three of us, Jeremy, myself, and Steve, all in different locations, to talk about interviewing Clyde. Here are some portions from that call.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have learned a lot through this whole process. I mean, James, you've been digging into this thing for years. And there are a whole lot of answers, but there are still a whole lot of questions, and hopefully he'll be able to fill in the blanks.
My understanding is that this has been something he's faced questions for, and obviously there's kind of a cloud hanging over that now for going on 30 years. Yeah. And so we're going to be just the latest version of people coming and asking him about this, and I don't think he's going to welcome that, right? So I'm not expecting that he's going to answer our call, but I feel like it's definitely the step we need to make, just in case he's willing to talk and to give him a chance to tell his side of the story. And then if he doesn't talk to us, then we go from there.
If I was Clyde Diede in this situation and it's totally innocent, I might take this opportunity to say, you know what, yeah, I will finally clear up some of this stuff. Or to be honest, I'd probably, after been spoken to by law enforcement, I'd probably have a lawyer already and just say, I don't talk to people. I mean, that's what I would personally do. Even if I was innocent, if I was him, I would have a lawyer. I don't think I'd talk to us if I was him. People have different motives for talking or not talking, I mean, he could it's easy to maybe project, but I mean, I like the idea of giving him, an opportunity, introducing yourselves, saying, hey, we know a lot about this case. We want to put it to rest. Meet with us. Let us, tell us what you know. I mean, he doesn't need to know what you know. I mean, certainly he could clear up a lot of this, and this is his opportunity, and he might be looking for that. I mean, maybe he wants to put some of this to bed. You got to be ready to roll, and let him know that you're recording. At that point.
Yep.
I think too. So
South Dakota is a one-party notification state, so as long as one of us on the calls knows we're recording, it's not an illegal call. But that is certainly cover your base. That is absolutely the right thing to do.
This is an opportunity to speak, and you're inviting him to do that. And hopefully he takes that. But you guys do know a lot about this case. But like probably every case, there's a lot that to be known. I mean, certainly just the list of questions that you have specifically to Clyde. There's a lot of ground to cover.
So with input from our boss, Steve, with weeks of preparation behind us, and our spreadsheet of questions in front of me, I made that first attempt to call Clyde, January 31st, this year, 2022. You heard it at the top of the show. No answer. So the next day, February 1st, I gave him another call, again, at his chiropractic practice in downtown Wolner, South Dakota. So I want to give you the lowdown on interviews like the one you're about to hear. As a journalist, there's lots of ways to interview someone. Every journalist has their own style. Most interviews are not like the ones you see on TV, either on police dramas or in high-profile interviews of, say, prominent politicians on the nightly news, or a show like 60 Minutes. My interview style is to come in very prepared, but usually not come in hot, demanding answers, rapid-fire questions, nothing like that. More often than not, I get answers by not saying something, opening an awkward space for the interviewee to fill in with an answer, asking a question to which I already know the answer. You'll hear that technique here. It'll probably feel uncomfortable at times to listen to, but trust me, that's the point.
One final note before we play that whole unedited interview. The phone connection with Clyde is really awful. It's fuzzy, and at times it cranks out loud noises and tones and buzzes. That's just how it goes sometimes. And we decided not to edit them out, to give you the full, untouched interview firsthand. Okay, here we go. February 1st, 2022, just before we launched Season 6 of Dakota Spotlight.
All right, attempt number 2. Gonna just keep trying. Double check the number. And all right, let's go.
Wolner chiropractic.
Hi, is this Clyde?
Yes.
Hi, Clyde. My name's Jeremy Fugleberg. I'm a journalist with Forum Communications in Sioux Falls, and I'm working on a project that involves you, so I wanted to call and chat with you a little bit if you got a couple minutes.
Yes.
Great. Well, so I'll tell you first what it is. What we're working on, it's a podcast called Dakota Spotlight. We look into various cases, cold cases, that kind of thing. And what we're looking into in this season is the disappearance of your ex-wife, Kristin.
Uh-huh.
And so I'd just be curious to ask you a few questions about that, if you're willing.
Yes.
Okay, well, thank you. Well, I'll let you know I'm going to hit record here, since this is obviously for a podcast. I'm going to record this. So that weekend, what do you think happened to her? I've heard lots of different stories, I guess, since we've been reporting on this.
To the best of my knowledge, she left with her boyfriend.
Left from just what do you mean left, I guess?
Well, from her previous life, I don't know.
Like left, like just drove away, or where do you?
Took off.
Oh, like left.
From, right.
Okay. So did you? So I believe she was in Wishek that weekend. I think it was mid-August there in 1993. Did you see her that weekend?
Yes, I did. She left the kids with me.
Okay. Did she drive the kids up and drop them off with you?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. Yeah, because from the research we did, it looked like I think there was a wedding that weekend.
That I don't know.
Okay. So when did you talk to her, and how did that conversation go?
You're talking about a long time ago. I don't remember the specifics.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, certainly a long time ago. Did you? I mean, was that the last time you heard from her again, or did you hear from her after that?
No, there was nothing after that.
Okay. What? And I know some of these questions are kind of personal, so I respect your space with that, but I some of these I have to ask. From what I hear, you've gotten a lot of questions over the years, and I believe the police have talked to you quite a few times. Isn't that right?
Sure.
Now, I even there's a record of them tossing you to jail for a night in Logan County in '95. Can you tell me what that was about?
Pardon me?
So we've got a jail record. It looks like they put you in jail in Logan County in 1995, just before Christmas, or a couple days before Christmas.
Oh, yeah, they were just squeezing me for information, and they thought if they put me in jail, gave me a taste of that I might give up. One of the things they wanted was a hair sample, which I was reluctant to do. I thought it was an infringement, but I finally did allow them to do that, and then they let me go home.
How is that? I mean, just facing that kind of attention from them, how has that affected your life over the years?
affected my life.
Yeah.
Well, after they were satisfied, there wasn't any continuation of issue, so there was no effect on my life.
Oh, when was the last time that you got interviewed about this by them?
In that general time frame, there wasn't anything following that.
About in, let's say, around 95, somewhere in there.
Again, specifics.
Sure.
A long time ago.
Sure. Now, just going back with Kristin again, you guys were almost neighbors, weren't you?
Neighbors. You mean where she grew up at?
Yeah.
We were both on farms in the local Wishek area.
Yeah. How did you meet her?
Proximity, I would say.
Just kind of knowing people and being kind of in the same area, that kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah. Now, my understanding is that you two had separated prior to that weekend when she disappeared. I believe the previous year, late '92. And as I'm sure you're aware, there's several domestic violence charges that were filed against you. Can you tell me any more about those or what happened there?
No, there were not several domestic charges filed against me. She, I drove away and she put her foot directly underneath my tire, and there was an issue about that. But I don't care to talk about something of that nature. It's just not something I want to dredge up.
Sure. Now, one thing that we heard in our reporting was that you had visited, say, about a week after she disappeared or so, or the next week after that weekend. You were at the Ward Hotel in Aberdeen. Does that sound familiar to you, or is that a place that you went?
No, I don't remember that.
Okay. Was Aberdeen a place that you ever went down to around that time that you recall?
I'm familiar with the town, but it's not a place that I hung out.
Sure.
Didn't have much of anything to do with.
So when Kristin came up that weekend, you said she was bringing her kids to you. We were talking to somebody else, and they had mentioned that it was actually your sister who picked them up. Does that ring a bell at all, or is that not how you remember it?
Her sister that brought him to me, you say?
Your sister is what we heard.
No, she dumped them in my care.
Okay.
She did.
There's also some people we talked to said she was going up there to get some stuff or to take some stuff away. Is that ring a bell at all?
It had nothing to do with me.
What does that mean?
My only business with her was her leaving the kids. That was it.
Okay. How did that work? Because from my understanding, is there was a no contact order in place at the time. How did that work with the kids' handoff?
I don't know about a no contact order.
So that's my understanding is one of the probation conditions for you after that domestic assault charge was a 2-year no contact order.
Well, apparently it wasn't stipulated. I had no interest in contacting her in any way, shape, or form. So when she turned up and left the kids, I had an opportunity to be with the kids for a while, and that was all I was interested in.
Yeah, they were pretty young at that time. What did you tell them, or how did you talk to them about where their mom went?
Well, I wouldn't say they weren't used to that type of thing from her, but it wasn't the first time that she would leave the children with somebody, if not me, then somebody else.
But of course, after a while, she's not coming back. How did you handle that, just as a dad?
I didn't have anything to relate about it, so there was nothing I could tell them.
Yeah. Did they ask about her a lot?
Oh, sure. They would ask periodically, I wonder when Mom's coming back, and I couldn't tell them.
Yeah. Now, you, my understanding is from Kristin's friends back in Bloomington is not too long after she disappeared, you showed up at her apartment to get some things. Is that accurate?
A truck that belonged to me. That's the only thing that I recall about going to the apartment.
To get a vehicle, you mean?
Yes.
Okay. So,
I am working. This is taking quite a while.
Okay. Could I call again another time when it would be more convenient for you?
No.
Or you're not interested in talking anymore about this?
No. It's dredging up bad memories.
I understand that. Certainly with the questions from the police, I have to ask, did you kill Kristin and Bob?
Of course not.
Do you know where they are now?
Done something like that, I wouldn't be talking to from the comfort of my desk here, would I? No, I don't know anything about where they are.
If you were me, where would you go looking for them?
I don't know where they are, so what could I tell you to? What information can I give you? I don't know where they are.
Okay. Well, I'm hearing that you're not interested in talking. I can respect that. So I'll tell you, we're going to be working on this podcast ongoing. The first part of it is going to go up tomorrow. And so I just want to give you the information again, and my information, so you can get back in touch with me if you're interested, okay?
What is a podcast? I know it has something to do with internet information that people go on the internet with, but
yeah,
I'm not clear about what a podcast actually is.
Oh, sure. So it's basically it's almost like a radio show, right? So what Dakota Spotlight is, what we're working on, it's an investigative podcast. I'm a news journalist, and what it is it's like a radio show in that it's audio, right? But it's, like you said, it's online, or it's distributed through apps on your phone, like Apple Podcast or Google Podcast, that kind of thing. And so every time that comes out, it downloads to your phone and people listen to it. So they've really gotten big, over the last few years. It's a way a lot of people get news and information now. So it's not too hard to find if you have if you can get any of those apps. If you have an Apple phone or an Android phone, you can get a podcast app pretty easily, or on Spotify too. That's another app, but everything gets put through there, and then it's online as well, so it's possible to find it.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it's called Dakota Spotlight, and I'll give you my name and my number so you have it, and if you're interested in calling me again, you just let me know.
Okay.
So my name is Jeremy, Jeremy, and my last name is Fugleberg. It's F as in Frank, Ugleberg. And our parent company is Forum Communications. It's based out of Fargo, but they own papers around the area, including Mitchell paper. And my direct number, my cell is 605-777-3357.
Okay.
Well, I thank you for your time. I understand this is bringing up a lot of old stuff, and it's not easy stuff. But I appreciate your time, and like I said, if you're interested in talking more, I'm here.
Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Clyde.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.
That was a lot. And Clyde actually took some of Jeremy's questions. We really didn't expect that. And at times, Clyde was fairly forthcoming. Although, as you heard, as the call went on, he seemed to grow less and less comfortable, and not at all comfortable with some of the harder questions. So put yourself in our shoes for just a second. What do you do with an interview like this? We just asked a man if he killed 2 people, including his wife. That's a big deal. Now, if Dakota Spotlight was like many other true crime podcasts out there, we probably would have held on to everything from this interview like a piece of storytelling treasure. You wouldn't have heard one word from our interview with Clyde in any of the early episodes. That's what other podcasts might do, because Clyde is clearly a significant figure in this investigation, and there are many questions remaining about his wife's disappearance. We could have done that. We could have hijacked your listening experience for the sole purpose of creating drama and suspense.
But we didn't feel good about that at all. True crime is, well, it's true. It's real life. It's not a game. It's not Hollywood. It's not a joke. And it's not ancient history. Lots of people in this season are still alive. Clyde Diede has never been arrested and charged in connection to Kristin and Bob's disappearance. As he pointed out, quite rightly, he remains a free man. And like anyone else, he's innocent until proven guilty. A thing we've repeated over and over on this podcast because it's true. It's a vital part of the justice system in this country. That means we have a responsibility to both Clyde and to you, the listener, to be fair about how we present what we know. To not go for the cheap slam dunk narrative that presumes to know just about everything, who did what and when, and then amp it up for a fact. We don't know exactly what happened. All we have are pieces of a puzzle. We've been honest about that.
So we had some tough choices to make with what Clyde told us. After careful consideration, this is what we decided. We would treat Clyde like any other source in this story. We wouldn't avoid playing clips of his interview for dramatic effect. No, we included his comments wherever possible, and whenever they were relevant to the topic at hand, just like everyone else we've interviewed, just like Tiffany and Heather and Molly and Susan, Diane, Dean, Debbie, Chase, Mike, Travis, Sandy, Brenda, Sherry, and Trooper Meitinger, and the others, just like all our sources. During those early episodes of the podcast, we expected Clyde to listen in. After all, Jeremy had told him how to listen to podcasts, how to find and subscribe to Dakota Spotlight. So, as you might have heard, we hoped to speak with him again, and we hoped he'd be willing to do so. He did not get back to Jeremy, but we certainly had more questions for him. So, a couple weeks later, I tried calling him again. Here's how that call went. Okay, that home number was not valid. So I'm going to try the chiropractic office Friday at 5:20 p.m. or Saturday at 5:20 p.m. So don't know why he would be there, but you never know. That's the right number. Looks like it.
Wolner chiropractic.
Mr. Diede, my name is James Wolner, calling from Forum Communications. You recently spoke with my colleague Jeremy in regards to your missing Kristin Diede, and I have 4 very specific questions for you that you definitely deserve an opportunity to comment on, and I'm wondering if you would like to do
but
that.
The problem is Jeremy never asked me permission to record me and put me on air, so I naturally have to decline your request.
Understood. I believe he did ask, but you still have his number if you want to bring that up with him. Are you still there, sir? Hello? Mr. Diede, are you still there?
So that was that. Of course, Clyde is wrong about my call with him. He was fully aware the call was from a journalist for a podcast and was being recorded, and proceeded to voluntarily answer my questions anyway. He could have said no comment or just hung up on me, but he chose not to. At the time of this recording, we haven't heard from Clyde again. We may call him again, though, just in case. Or Clyde, if you're listening, give us a call. You have my number. Or we'd be happy to drive to Winter to interview you in person. We do still have more questions for you.
Next week, we'll sit down with a retired homicide detective from Bismarck, North Dakota, and lay everything we've learned out on the table. We'll ask him what he thinks about all of this. Thank you for listening to Dakota Spotlight.
Well, I don't think they ran away.
You don't?
No. I don't think they ran away.
Want more true crime news like this? Visit inforum.news/support and unlock access to our entire news network. Subscribe now at inforum.news/support.
Dakota Spotlight is a production of Forum Communications. Season 6, Vanishing Act, is produced by me, James Wolner.
And by me, Jeremy Fugleberg. Remember, the investigation into what happened to Kristin and Bob remains an open case. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law.
If you have any information about this case, contact law enforcement at the Logan County, North Dakota Sheriff's Office. The number is 701-754-2495.
To read and research more about the case, check out the documents and photos we've uncovered at inforum.com/Dakota Spotlight. If you have any tips or information you think could help us as we continue to report this podcast, please reach out. You can contact me, Jeremy Fugleberg, via email at jfugleberg@forumcom.com. That's J, my first initial, last name Fugleberg, Fugleberg, at forumcom, that's FORUMCOMM.com. I'm also on Twitter at jfug, that's JAYFUG.
To contact me, James Wolner, email me at jwolner@forumcom.com. That's JWOLNER@forumcom.com. That's FORUMCOMM.com. Or follow me on Twitter at Dakota Spotlight. And why not join the Dakota Spotlight Facebook group? Just search Dakota Spotlight on Facebook. Please consider subscribing to the podcast on Spotify or Apple or anywhere you get your podcasts. If you like this show and want others to discover it, please consider leaving us a review and rating on Apple Podcasts.
To support Dakota Spotlight, consider becoming a member of all Forum Communication news websites. To do so, head over to inforum.com/subscribe. Dakota Spotlight is a Forum Communications Company podcast.